Hi, welcome to the Do Something Indie Show. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all the folks that have come and watched our show and are looking at the positive things that are being done in our city. We have so much negativity. We want to highlight the positive things. I'm your host, John Schmitz, and we have part 2 of our 3-part series coming right up here. And this is pretty cool because it's a follow-up from the Purdue Polytechnic kids, which we have an interview where we have something coming up here where the kids interviewed us, and then we were actually judges of their projects. And what's really cool is the project that won the whole thing out there was actually about Mars Hill. So Delia was allowed to move on to the regions, which was just today, and now we're airing this on Wednesday, and she had a really good chance of winning. So let's go to that video and see how she did and see how the kids interviewed us. So let's roll it. Hi, this is John Schmitz and Lisa Schmitz for Do Something Indie, and we're here at the Purdue Polytechnic High School. Did I get it right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm here with...
Ella,
Delia, James,
and Lisa.
Oh yeah, I knew that. And they're gonna interview us today. So we're gonna let them take it away.
Yeah.
So, when you came, when you heard you were gonna do this, what were you thinking? Like, what were you expecting from us when you heard you were gonna judge our presentations?
So I have been to a pitch competition multiple times. So I had an idea of what it was going to be like. But what I was excited about was the fact that it was going to be kids pitching, not adults pitching. Usually it's adults in a room of investors, and the investors are trying to decide who they want to invest money in. You guys were pitching ideas that you hoped had some feasibility, some viability to them, and then your project could win or not win. So I was just excited to see some kids doing it, because I don't think I would have had the courage to do something like that at your age. What about you?
I thought we were just gonna see a bunch of dumb kids.
We
But
know
I
these-
was pleasantly surprised.
these kids are not
and this was, I don't like to prejudge anything, but this was a little bit like Shark Tank, and that's what they told us that was. And I'll tell you what, it was work doing the judging, and the work that I saw that was, put into this was really, I've seen adults do business plans that aren't as detailed as this. So well thought out, well presented. I think this is a great concept of how to get kids involved, and you all seemed really involved in it.
We really love doing this, and it's really involving all of the school. Okay. I hate interviewing people.
I can tell.
So, when you were listening to the interviews, what were the questions or some things you thought while listening to them?
So
That's a terrible question.
no, that's a good question, actually, because I thought about if I had to give you feedback afterwards, one-on-one, what would it be like? So I was extremely impressed with the amount of research that you guys did. You had numbers to back up your ideas. You had images. You did basically a CAD drawing of an interior of what your space would look like. You guys did PowerPoint presentations that looked way better than some people that I've worked with before doing PowerPoint presentations. So, I thought that it was very well thought out, very well planned, very well executed. And to know that you didn't spend but a few weeks really working
6
on
weeks.
these 6 weeks. But truly the presentation part of it, though, how long did you work on the
The
presentation?
presentation, 1.5 weeks for
Yeah.
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
we kind of
Less.
slapped it together in the
Yeah,
last
it was
week.
really quick because we sort of did our process differently, and we interviewed the whole time. So when we interviewed you guys, it was 2 weeks before the pitch, and so it was we needed to get our presentation done and our solution. So
Yeah.
our solution was finalized last week.
Yeah, this cycle we focused a lot on the research and the interviews. We had so many interviews this cycle. I wish we could have gotten all of our user personas on our slides. However, we weren't able to do that, but we spent most of our time on the research rather than the presentation itself.
Yeah.
So her answer was so long, I forgot what the question is.
Like when you were listening to the pitches and stuff, what thoughts went through your head? Like if maybe if
Okay, yeah, I remember now.
yeah, if you could talk to us one-on-one about stuff we did.
I had to tell myself, hey, this isn't like professional people doing this during the time, because I'm thinking, okay, and when I went to Ball State, I was an art major, and when we had our projects critiqued, it was brutal. I mean, if they couldn't make you cry, it wasn't a quality critique.
I thought you were going to make somebody cry with one of your questions today.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I
had to tone it back a little bit on that regard. But you have to get critical. You know, if we just pat each other on the back, oh, you're great, you're not going to improve. So I tried to balance that out a little bit, remembering that you guys are younger than art students at college, and that crying is not what you wanted to do today.
Yeah.
But so it was work. I mean, we had to pay attention, and you have that sense that somebody's grade depends on this, or so we really took it with some seriousness. So you did a great job.
Thank you.
So I guess what aspects of just kind of this whole event would you like change, if anything?
Oh, you got an answer?
Oh, as far as what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
here?
the pitch.
I don't know how much guidance you get from if they just turn you loose, and if you have a couple questions, they sort of tell you, or if they give you an outline. Those weren't things that I was privy to. And what I would like to see is, some, break down some of the parts. How do you do a presentation? How do you speak in front of people? And I know I still fidget. I'm the biggest fidgeter. So is fidgeting good? Yeah, or not? Those type of things. But I know they're trying to do a broad stroke, and to do that to get you involved. From that perspective, I think it's a great idea, and and you guys work so hard at it. So it's obvious that you're interested.
Yeah.
So I want to answer that too. Just kind of selfishly, Coach Duffy took us through the rubric and kind of what it was expected of us prior to coming in. I think if I had that before today, so that I could really look at it and understand, okay, this is what I'm going to be looking for, this is how I'm going to be grading or scoring you guys. I kind of felt like that with that first one, it took me longer to score it because I was trying to remember what all you said instead of looking at it and like doing it as you go.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to go first.
Yeah.
I wanted to go last.
Yeah.
You got voluntold, my friend.
I know.
Yeah, so I wanted to be a little more prepared, but I still thought it was great. He did a good job of going over it with us ahead of time. So
So what you're saying with the structure of what we understand and everything before we make our pitches, we have like a template and everything that asks us different questions about our cycle question so that we can understand it and more like brainstorm different solutions. And we aren't even supposed to think about solutions till like 4 or 5 weeks in. We're like supposed to just think about research and our users, and so that backs up all of our solutions.
Yeah.
It's really great.
so then you're basically coming up with your solution way after you've talked to the users.
Which was hard. So that's why we talked to you a bunch, because we wanted to make sure that our project reflected what the users wanted.
Right.
So
Although Jacob kind of did that reverse.
I know. That's why I was confused with his slides.
There were several people I know this cycle who did that.
Yeah. Well, I was really surprised in the course of our conversation when you interviewed me over the phone and you said, have you thought about maybe a coffee shop or a study space? And I was like, oh my word, we've actually talked about that. And so did you pick up on that in a conversation with us, or was that like a truly original idea?
I think maybe a little bit of pickup, but I really wanted like a library area because I love libraries, and so I really wanted that for the community.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was like, our thoughts were aligned, so it was really great.
And I was impressed with your feasibility. And when you talked to us earlier, you were talking about the old Marsh building, and you sort of followed that with a bigger building that was, the feasibility as for money and all that. Those are grandiose I mean, those are big numbers to deal with. So, you scaled yours back to something that you could actually do.
Yeah,
and that's what we did when we went into Mars Hill. It was something we could do without any other funding. But thinking of the funding, there's a lot of moving parts that you don't realize till you start like, oh my gosh, I got to put this together.
Yeah.
And I think you really did a good job researching that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of you did.
After texting with you, I figured out about the white building when you
Yeah.
told me, and so like that was like a game changer. It was like, wow, they own this building. That's
Yeah.
great. We have somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like we don't have to pay $250,000 for Marsh. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Well, and who was it that
Hold on. Mars was about 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there was parts of it that were. It was
Oh
like
yeah,
a small
so
part.
Yeah.
okay, they were.
I mean, you had a good building that was actually for sale and like empty, whereas our building we thought was vacant wasn't, and it ended up being owned by Ray's Trash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It was you guys that she said that tall warehouse building on the corner that's
the
empty. I
actual,
said
yeah.
it's actually not empty.
It's full of
So-
trash.
Yeah.
once again, Coach Duffy was wrong because he told us it was empty.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Maybe we should be critiquing him.
I
Maybe he
know.
should be in there answering some questions. I mean, we
exactly.
could get a bright light and put it on him and say,
Yeah,
hey, what's up, Coach Duffy?
All right. So we good? We
Any more questions?
Yeah. Any more?
What did you think about the rubric for grading? Like, do you think there could have been other things on it?
No, I thought it was good,
Okay.
and I thought it
was.
it's very similar to what you're going to use when you get to college too.
Yeah,
so.
we've tried a few different ones. This
Yeah.
one seems to work the best.
So did you all have, I'm doing the interview again, did you have any input on how the grading process was, or is that pretty much, here it is, and
Well, they give us like there's a feedback survey. At least there has been in the past in which we fill out stuff we fill out sheets or like a Google form. Yeah, that's the right word. A Google form. Like this is what you liked about the cycle. This is what you didn't. At the beginning, they didn't give us half sheets. We had entire sheets of paper that we had to fill out for as students for the team, and that didn't work too well because students, some of us have the attention span of a gnat. Cough, cough, me. So we didn't fill them out to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
so, all right, I mean, this has been a great experience.
Yeah.
I'm glad y'all came and found us because, we're glad that other people are thinking in this direction, and we'd love to have some neighbors in Mars Hill doing these things. So I guess that's going to be a wrap.
Last but not least is a change in habit from Purdue Polytechnic High School. That's a lot of words. Yes, give it up.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Is this on? Hello? Okay. Hello, so my name's Delia and I want to explain my idea, a change of habit. So this was originally a school project, and the question we received was, how might we improve neighborhoods in our community? This was a really broad question, so we wanted to do a lot of research on it. We researched just all the neighborhoods in Indiana, and then we narrowed for Mars Hill. Mars Hill is a neighborhood on the southwest side of Indianapolis that deals with crime, drugs, and poverty. We also did some field trips to the Mars Hill Art Center, which I'll talk about a bit later, and we did a lot of phone and in-person interviews. So 2 of the people we got to meet were Kira and Alexa. Kira and Alexa are both in 6th grade and live in the Mars Hill area. They're super sweet, and when we were talking to them, some of the problems that they said were they had nowhere to go after school and the park wasn't that safe. So they expressed interest in having somewhere to go. Some more people we interviewed were Lisa and John, who are actually here today, and they own the Mars Hill Art Center. Lisa does floral arrangements and John does pottery. Through those skills that they have, they help the community through the Art Center by putting on different events and community classes. Another person we interviewed was Kyle. Kyle grew up in Mars Hill, and he struggled with crime and drugs when he was younger. Because he had no place to go after school, he was out on the streets and got into trouble. But now he owns a faith-based tattoo shop and wants places for other kids to go now. Something he told us was that kids just need a positive environment. This is because he did not have that when he was growing up. From all of this information that we gathered, we came up with our problem statement. The community of Mars Hill struggles with crime and drugs. The largest of these is drugs, which has taken over the community in the past years. Our solution for this is a cafe and a library. This will bring the community together and connect teens and keep them off the street. This is also going to build onto the literacy program that the Mars Hill Art Center has already started, bringing literacy to the community. It'll also just be a safe place overall for the community to be. Some more information on this is the Mars Hill Art Center already owns the building, and we're able to use it because they want to use it for this. It's 2,000 square feet, 1,000 on each level, and would be a total renovation. Some of the interior ideas are the downstairs cafe area. We wanted some pops of bright color as well as art from the community. We wanted it to be wide open with plenty of seating for the whole community to come. As you can see by the stairs in the back corner, that leads up to the library. The library we also wanted to be wide open with tables so that people can play board games, as well as some computers for computer access for after school Wi-Fi. We also have an area for younger children to play and, of course, books since it's a library. So why a library? In 2019, people went to the library more than they went to the movies. They took an average of 10.5 trips to the library last year. Another interesting fact is that libraries are most visited in low-income neighborhoods. And while we have big libraries in like Fishers that isn't as low income, we don't have them in low-income neighborhoods, which is a bit confusing. So remember Alexa? We told her about our idea to build a library and cafe in her area, and she really loved it and said that she'd go on fall mornings to have a cup of coffee and a book. She seems a bit young for coffee, though. Some of our next steps in this is to raise $80,000. We're going to do this by applying for grants at the Federal Home Loan Bank of Indianapolis and CICF. Then we're going to, once we have that all the funding, which will take about a year, we're going to design the blueprints. We'll we'll have the community help us in designing the blueprints, and we'll have them help us while building it. So it's a community project, which will take about 2 years for both of those. So in 2 years and 6 months, we'll have our grand opening. So how is this going to be sustainable? The people that are going to be running this is Lisa and John Schmitz from the Mars Hill Art Center. They will also be employing people, and we also make sales and revenue from the coffee sales, and we'll be renting out the space. So who will this be affecting? This will be affecting Lisa and John. This will be affecting Alexa, Kira, and Kyle, and 14,397 more people. Thank you guys so much for your time, and if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
This is John Schmitz with Do Something Indie, and you just watched a whole bunch of stuff that we've been doing over the last few months. And Delia here just got done doing her presentation in front of a grilling panel of judges. And I want her to give us a little rundown on how that went and what you felt like, and are you glad it's over?
I'm a bit glad it's over. Lots of nerves before it, but once I finished, I felt good about it, and we'll just see how it turns out, but all the competition was really great.
Yes, and she did a fabulous job because it's tough. I mean, how old are you?
15.
She's 15, and she was up there like owning it. So, but you're going to see that. I mean, you just did see it, so you'll be able to judge that for yourself. But we're hoping that she gets to go on now. We're waiting anxiously, and Delia was
Fingers
kind enough
crossed.
to give me this interview between the time, but at 4 o'clock, we're going to find out if she wins or not. And if you win, where do you go next?
I go somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere, because the coronavirus, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
well go somewhere out of state.
We're going to the Mars Hill Arts Center. That's where we're going.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So there was 9 competitors today, right? 9 teams? Or no,
There's 9
Eight.
teams. There's 8 competitors.
8 competitors. And then if you win that, then you go to the state, because this is a region. It's sort of like, it's like the basketball sectionals. You go on and you go on. So we're excited for this. It's going to be good if this happens. I mean, I think we can really do this regardless if you win
Yeah,
or
even
lose.
if we don't win, I have another pitch competition in April, and you guys should
yeah.
come.
Yeah, and then also next week you're going to want to watch the show, because that's going to tie together in last week's show and this week's show, and you're going to be saying, "Oh, I see what you're doing there," because hey, it's really fancy here to do something indie show. That's what we try to do, is impress you with our dazzleness. But this is a young up and coming star, and she is, making things happen,
Thank
trying to
you.
make communities better. And hopefully we'll be able to keep continuing this, and we'll have an updated show later with some progress. And so
Yes.
when was that next competition?
April
April 26th. Yeah, Coach Nolan here is in the background watching over his faithful student that's already competed against, 100 people already? How many people was it?
I mean, there were 80 at our school,
80.
plus 200 downtown.
Yeah, a lot of people. And she is triumphant. So we're going to hope for the best. Regardless, it's a great job, it's a great effort, and you can come to the the Mars Hill Hangout when we get it all finished up. So, hey, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for our special guest that's probably going to help out on this. So we'll see. So thanks for tuning in. Well, I'll tell you what, Delia is quite mature for 15 years. I mean, she put so much work into this, and she did such a great job. It was fun watching her progress from the first pitch to what went on there. Now, unfortunately, Delia's project did not win, but the good news is we're going to continue to do this project. She may not have won that trip to the next event, but what she has done is she's got a project here where I think we're going to be able to get this done. So we have Wendy Jenkins, who's doing the, out in Brookside doing her work out there. We have Delia that wants to do her stuff here. That's 2 things that we have going good. So I want you to tune in next week for this guest that I know I've been building this up. But I want you to tune in next week for a guest that's going to tie this all together. And then we're going to make some things happen from this. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. I know it was a little longer show than usual, but we had a lot to cover. And I was just so proud of Delia and how she did at this presentation. So, hey, we'll see you next Wednesday for our special guest. Over and out.